Now, if I were to come down to the store, and these are some statistics, unfortunately in India we don't have very good statistics because there isn't enough research which has been done in the area of retail. But if you look at the American retail industry, where roughly 80% of the American retail industry is modern retail, what you do see there is that there is a fair amount of knowledge available about shopping habits. Now, if you were to go back to what's happened there in the year 2005, what they discovered is that 70% of purchase decisions are actually made within the store. And when I talk about a purchase decision, what I'm meaning here is that somebody deciding that I want to buy X brand or Y brand is a purchase decision, as opposed to saying that I want to buy a product. So that purchase decision is actually made within the store. A lot of purchase decisions are actually impulse. And if you look at a Popeye study, what you do see, 68% of in-store purchases are driven by impulse. So when you really look at it, and when you look at what role do you have in terms of creating impulse purchase and in driving brand decisions, and in going back to this theme of actually communication to commerce and the role that modern retail has to play, modern retail has a pretty significant role to play in actually converting an intent into a purchase, and in terms of actually making sure people consume at a higher quantity than what they intended to do when they walked into the store. Some of the other things relating to shopper-buyer behavior. 68% of consumers are brand switchers, which means that the old days of what we called as brand loyalty are certainly disappearing, which is not that you will, and that is a reality. When the moment you get more brands and you have brand proliferation, you have more choices, then consumers are more likely to try different products as opposed to remaining with one. 5% are actually loyal only to one brand, which is actually the reverse of 68% brand switchers. We always believe that people actually shop in one store regularly, but when you really look at the behavior, and even in India, what you do realize is that when you're at home and you want to send your maid out to buy something, you send your maid out to a certain kind of store. When you want to go and buy something, you go to a certain kind of store. So what you do realize is that you don't go to one brand of stores or to one store for your entire set of purchases. You go to different kinds of stores and you go for different purchase occasions. If you look at the average consumer, and this is a study which was done in 2009, 3,000 marketing messages reach an average consumer every day. And even when we look at it, when we just drive from one part of the city to the other part of the city and go back and look at all the billboards that we see in all the newspapers, all the television channels, they're a huge number. We remember very few, but there are a large number of marketing messages which are getting broadcasted through different mediums to us. Some of it sticks with us, some certainly doesn't. So what you do understand is that the media choices are many, the store choices are many, the product choices are many. And when you have this kind of a choice, then certainly it gets even more complex to be able to fine-tune and say clearly that this customer will buy this brand from that store. So that is the reality that I actually wanted to paint to all of you all who are either as brand owners or in terms of the communication owners. Let me take you to another subject which is actually about shopper marketing. When you look at shopper marketing and look at it from a manufacturer's perspective, because shopper marketing is a relatively new term, what shopper marketing means, which is different from consumer marketing, is that consumers, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, are passive recipients of advertising messages, whereas shoppers are active agents of purchase decisions. So when you talk about shopper marketing, you're targeting those who are the active agents of purchase decisions, people who are in the frame of mind to buy. So those are the people you're targeting, as opposed to people who are your target audience and sitting at homes or wherever else. So when you look at it, shopper marketing from a manufacturer's perspective, what they talk about, and clearly the objective here is about delivering and improving business results by delivering better value to the retailer and the shopper. From a manufacturer's perspective, they have two customers. One is a person who's coming in to buy, and the second is a person who's actually selling their brands. So they have to make sure that they actually add value to both of these people. For them, they are looking at shopper marketing as an avenue wherein they can actually make sure consumers who are sitting at home come in to buy a brand. They also want to create differentiation within the store between their brand and other brands. So clearly what you see here is that from a manufacturer's perspective, the way they see shopper marketing is, how do I get people to walk into stores, and how do I make sure that they walk in frequently? Which is, it shouldn't be that they walk in once a year. Then obviously all of us will be dead in terms of business. But they want people to walk in frequently into their stores. So these are the two things that manufacturers look at from a shopper marketing perspective. The second thing that they certainly look at is that, how do we make sure that the people who sell my brand are actually also kept happy, are on the same page as you are, as the manufacturer is, when it comes to addressing the consumer or the shopper. When you look at shopper marketing from a retailer's perspective, what we see from a retailer's perspective is, we want to make sure that we improve business results by delivering better value to the shopper. We are clear, because we are at the retailer end, at the shopper, and as different from the manufacturer end. We also want to drive consumers to the store. So unlike the manufacturer who wants to drive consumers to the brand, in our case, we want to actually drive consumers to the store. The second thing is that we want to create differentiation in the minds of the consumer. Why should you come to my store and buy your monthly groceries rather than to go to some other store? So in Hyderabad, for example, why should they come to a Reliance Fresh and buy groceries rather than go to a Heritage or go to a More or any other store which sells the same brands and products? So we must give them a reason why they should be coming in. The other thing that we also know about shopper marketing is that there is a transaction and there is a relationship. Now, a relationship is when somebody comes constantly to your store. A transaction is when they come once and buy. So we tend to focus a lot of the shopper marketing efforts on actually the transaction. And we do a lot in terms of what we call as the loyalty card for the relationship. So when you really look at where shopper marketing fits in, it's how to make sure that having got a shopper into the store, we make sure that they actually walk out with a shopping bag. So what are some of the challenges when it comes to shopper marketing for a retailer? First is we have to think like our shoppers. If we think differently and our shoppers think differently, we obviously not even on the same wavelength. So we have to think like our shoppers. We also have to have an understanding, like how brand owners have an understanding who are their customers and which are the different customer segments. Even retailers need to have an understanding of who are their customers and which are the different customer segments. And then we have to figure out what do we need to do specific to different customer segments. The third is that there are different challenges in the operating environment. So at some stage there is an economic cycle. At some stage there is a demographic cycle which is happening. So all of this has an implication in terms of how shoppers behave. So for example, if there is a downturn, what typically tends to happen is that shoppers tend to be a bit more conservative. They're not so impulse driven. They want to make sure that they save money, so they don't want to actually spend in terms of how shoppers behave. Whereas if it's a generally good season, and if let's say everything is going hunky-dory, then what tends to happen is that shoppers also don't think twice. They tend to spend, they spend well, they spend impulsively. So that requires a different kind of things that you focus on. Has to be firmly anchored in not just the economic cycle, but also which kind of shopper you have. Whether it's a young customer walking in, whether it's a middle-aged customer walking in, etc. And one of the most important challenges that we have as retailers is how to get beyond being a store. Like all marketeers have this challenge of how to make sure that your product translates into a brand. These brands within the store, it certainly will not help us to be able to make a retail brand, though of course it is an important part of building a retail brand. Building a retail brand is also not about building a huge and successful loyalty program, because you need to make sure that people come in. So a loyalty program, you might be able to ensnare them in the beginning when they walk in, where you give them a card. But if they don't come back a second time, that card is really a waste of money. Cost of acquiring that customer has really gone down the drain. So just because you've got a loyalty program certainly doesn't mean that you actually will build a retail brand. So these are some of the things where I've said that, you might have it, but just because you have it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a retail brand. But a retail brand is built by, first of all, making sure that you have a consistent store design which communicates a core message. And this is no different than building a product brand. When you talk about building a product brand, we say that we will focus this is our USP, differentiator, value proposition, whichever way you define it. Finally, this is what we are, is what we always say. And we say that over the years, we will continue to say the same thing, and we'll say it always in this particular tone and voice. So we always say that that is a good and consistent way of building a product brand. It is no different in the case of a store. And if you want to build a retail brand, you have to make sure that you have a design which remains attractive, relevant to the customer segment, and you have a message and a set of values which remain constant over time. The second thing is in terms of consistency in execution. What we know is that we are not doing one product brand through one medium, or one product brand through several mediums. What you actually have is a whole network of stores. And sometimes you have one store which is actually following the norms, and you have several stores which don't follow the norms. So what does happen is that your execution suffers when you have 50 stores, 100 stores. What looked good when you had 5 stores certainly has got diluted by the time you've expanded your network of stores. So ensuring consistency in execution is very, very important in addition to point number 1. Third point that we have is in terms of efficient operations. No retail brand can be built without efficient retail operations. Now, unless you're able to greet customer, provide a painless way for the customer to walk through the store, allow them to be able to see all products very clearly, price messaging, brand messaging very clear, a speedy transaction and checkout, and that is what we mean by efficient operations, in addition to, of course, making sure product is always available through an efficient supply chain. You will never actually be able to build a retail brand because you can't create positive word of mouth. Highly motivated employees translate into high levels of customer satisfaction, because we know that employee satisfaction, a happy employee actually creates a happy customer. We also need to make sure that we create constant excitement, because when you have a grocery store, for example, and you are asking a homemaker to walk in there twice a week, if you keep the same layout and if you keep the same products and you keep the same offers for months on end, what tends to happen is that the consumer also, the shopper gets jaded a bit. So what you need to do is you need to have constant change. So the change might happen in the way you relay out the products. The change might happen in the way you actually have different kinds of promotions. The change also happens in terms of the way people interact. So a lot of these changes have to be made constantly so that it looks like a fun place all the time to come in and shop. And then, of course, as I mentioned to you, powerful store brands also have great importance in actually building a powerful retail brand. So when you look at what are the weapons that retailers have to actually build a retail brand, and what is the armory? Like you might, of course, the classical ones are there in terms of television and newspaper and magazines and, press inserts and various other things like that. But we actually look at our store as being the first and the greatest media opportunity that we have. Because when you look at our stores and look at any retailer's stores, the first thing that you notice is that you see the outside of the store. So clearly the outside of the store becomes one messaging medium. Whether it is the main signage, whether it's the windows when you walk towards the entrance of the store, all these are extremely critical when it comes to actually building visibility for the retail store. The second is in actually walking into the store. And when we get shoppers to walk into the store, we'd like them to see different levels. So spatially imagine that you're walking into the store, and this store can be exactly like the room. So you walked in through that door, having seen the signage on the outside. When you walk in through that door and into the store, you have the flooring, you have the ceiling, you have the walls, and you have the columns. And every bit of this has to be planned and used carefully to ensure that you're actually able to get your message across to the shopper. And so if you see here, what you can see is the effective use of different parts of the store to communicate different kinds of messages. So you have floor graphics, you have wall graphics, you can see things which are on the shelf, you can see things which are directly on the wall. So all of these actually get used and used reasonably scientifically. Then you have displays, and displays also tend to be a way in which you can translate and communicate a message to the shopper. So you can see one floor standing display of a new product which has actually got launched in the stores. This is another area, because now the